Hello everybody, I am Keaton and this is Kid Catholic Season 11, Episode 8, and I hope that you are having an absolutely wonderful Tuesday so far. I know that I am. Before we get into it, if you wanted to click the red subscribe button down below and the bell next to it, that way you're notified. And when I come out with a new video, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, if the comments are disabled on this post, that wasn't me that did it. YouTube has been disabling my comments for several weeks now. So if you want to comment, but it says that the comments are disabled, go over to my community tab page. And when I make the post about this video, comment on that so that way I still get to see what you have to say if you have anything to say at all about the video. So what I wanted to talk about today is specifically my generation, which is Generation Z. For those of you who don't know, I am 16, so I'm a part of Gen Z. And what I want to talk about is I feel like a lot of times Gen Z, my generation, we get a lot of slander. We get called like an anti-Catholic generation. We get called a generation that could really do bad things. And on a real note, I understand where people are coming from. It doesn't look great for our generation when it comes to our holiness or our Catholicness, our Catholicism, if that makes sense. However, I would have to completely disagree. Because I want to look at some Pew Research statistics for this video that sort of show a different story. And while they aren't great, for a generation that has grown up surrounded by sin in a society that normalizes and encourages sin in every way, these statistics are pretty good. That was a voice crack. Are pretty good, I'd say, for our generation, and they can only get better because every generation when they're young isn't always as into their religion as when they get older. And so I feel like the older our generation gets, the more faith-based and faith-centered it will become. And also, something that I want to talk about before I get into these statistics, while our generation is oftentimes misguided on what the truth is, while our generation is oftentimes misguided on a lot of things, something that Gen Z does, I think, better than any other generation before us, maybe that's just bias, I don't know, but we stand up for the truth. I'd say for the most part, a lot of people in our generation aren't afraid to stand up for the truth, aren't afraid to stand up for what we know to be true. While again, sometimes we're misguided into what that truth actually is, when we do discover the truth, I feel like obviously we're going to have some that are a little more afraid to stand up for it, and that's understandable. But for the most part, we have a lot of us who are not afraid to stand up for the truth and stand up for what we believe in, which is a really good thing. So I want to look at some of these statistics. So for when it comes to among parents of teens in each religious group, percentage of what the teen's religion is. So like if the parent is Catholic, what percent of the teenagers of that parent consider themselves to be Catholic also, if that makes sense. And among Catholic, 81% of teens who have Catholic parents say that they are Catholic as well. While that doesn't sound great, when you look and see that 55% of teens who have mainline Protestant parents say that they're mainline Protestant. Only 55%. 24% of those say that they're unaffiliated with any religion for those who have Protestant parents, whereas only 15% of the Catholic teens say that they're unaffiliated with any religion when they have Catholic parents. So 81% of Catholic, like, of you know what I'm trying to say, of Catholic teens who have parents who are also Catholic, 81% of those teens say that they're Catholic also, which, while it doesn't look great, that is higher than a lot of these other evangelical Protestant and mainline Protestant. So I'd say it is really good. When you come down here too, this was really interesting. This is statistic for teens who the headline is teens less religious than their parents by some measures, but not worship attendance. So among U.S. teens ages 13 to 17, so that'd be more Gen Z, and again, this survey was in 2019, okay? Among U.S. teens ages 13 to 17, 44% attend services at least monthly. So this is all of Christianity, not just Catholicism specifically. So we would call that Mass. We wouldn't call that a service, but that's what this calls it because it's all of Christianity. So 44% say that they attend services at least monthly, compared to only 43% of parents of teens, which I mean, I think it's pretty cool that the percent of teens that attend those is higher than the percent of parents. When we have pray daily, 48% of parents, 27% of teens. Consider religion very important in their lives, 24% of teens, 43% of parents. Then believe in God with absolute certainty, 40% of teens, 63% of parents. So it's not great. Obviously, the teens as a whole do not pray daily as much, do not consider religion as important in their lives. But I believe that is something that when we have enough people who sort of grow up and realize, oh, the faith is what I need. Like as our generation grows up, I feel that the number of us who will be standing up for the faith will increase dramatically. And when that increases dramatically, so will all of these numbers, because there are already more U.S. teens who attend religious services at least monthly than there are the parents of teens who attend religious services at least monthly. So, I mean, I'd consider that a good sign. You go down a little bit. This one, as I said, is worrisome, but just like the last one, it is something that with age will drastically be approved upon. So this is the plurality of teens. So that's basically like what percent of teens believe that there's only one religion that's true, what percent of teens believe that no religion is true, what percent of teens believe that many religions can be true. And so obviously we as Catholics know that there can only be one true religion, because there can only be one truth. It's not like two religions can be true at the same time. That wouldn't really make any logical sense. So one religion can be true, and that religion is Catholicism. We are the one holy Catholic and apostolic church. And so when you look at the teens' parents, only 33% of parents of teenagers in the U.S. believe that only one religion is true. Only 33%. And so you'd expect Gen Z statistics and the percent of Gen Z teens who believe that only one religion is true, you would expect that number would be drastically lower than 33%, because, of course, I mentioned we're younger. It's just a thing that younger generations tend to be less religious than the older generation. So when I saw these statistics and I saw the teen parents one, I was thinking the U.S. teens might be down to about 10% even of U.S. teens who believe that only one religion is true. But right now it's 31%. Which, I mean, obviously, that's not great. We'd like to see that at 100%, obviously. But that's almost exactly the same as the parents of teens who believe that only one religion is true. And as I already mentioned, we definitely will and can get more religious with time, because Gen Z is one that sticks up for the truth. We may be misguided on what the truth is, as I mentioned. We may be misguided on our ways of going about it. But those things fix with age. What stays the same is that we're willing to stand up for the truth. And so the older we get, the more of us Catholic teens who grow up, the more we as Catholics are willing to stand up for our Catholic truth among our peers in our generation. So when you go down, and this one is one that I think really, really shows why Gen Z is an absolutely incredible generation, and one that can be very Catholic. While you have these super low numbers for a lot of these statistics, this one is really, really impressive, okay? This is the percentage of U.S. teens who say that they experience some type of sort of God moment at least once or twice a month, if that makes sense. And there are specific ones. The percent of U.S. Catholics, now this is Catholic specifically, so not all of Christianity, but the percent of U.S. teens that are Catholic who feel a strong sense of gratitude or thankfulness is 79%. This one is good too. The percent of Catholic teens who feel a deep sense of spiritual peace and well-being is 54%. The majority of Catholic teens right now feel a deep sense of spiritual peace and well-being. The percentage of Catholic teens who think about the meaning and purpose of life, which is obviously a good thing to think about, because it is the answer to why God created us in the first place, and that's 50% of teens, which is higher than any of these other religions listed, which is evangelical Protestant, mainline Protestant, and unaffiliated. And then feel a deep sense of wonder about the universe. 37% of Catholic teens feel a deep sense of wonder about the universe in the U.S. So, but that's 79% number. I mean, these Catholic teens, sure, while a lot of these other numbers may be low, they have these God moments. They have these spiritual moments of peace and well-being. They have this curiosity. I should say, have this curiosity of things, of the truth that we want to discover. So yeah, while a lot of these statistics may be low right now, we're young. They are expected to be low. It doesn't make them okay, but it's more or less expected. But when you get to this God moment, at least once or twice a month, and it's up to from 79%, 54%, 50%, that is really, really good. And then this one is the last one, the last set of statistics that I want to leave it off with that just prove that our generation is one that sticks up for our faith, that isn't afraid to share our faith. Okay, so this is the percentage of U.S. teenagers in public schools. Okay, so it's different from Catholic public schools who say they see other students in their school wear clothing or jewelry with religious symbols. 53%. 53% say they see people wear religious things in their public school, which is the majority, which is amazing. Okay, so a percent of U.S. teenagers in public schools who say they see other students praying before a sporting event is 39%. Pray before a sporting event. Again, this isn't a Catholic school. You'd expect that at a Catholic school. This is a public school. Okay, inviting someone to a religious youth group, 26%. Praying before eating lunch while at public school, 16%, which, while it sounds low, when you consider sort of what the social norms are of our time, that is really, really good. And then reading religious scripture outside of class, 8%. So, of course, reading has never really been Gen Z's thing. But my point is proved that Gen Z is one that is not afraid to share their faith. 53% wearing clothing or jewelry with religious symbols. That's not just for Christians. That's for teens in general in the U.S., in public school. That is an incredible thing. So, yeah, Gen Z has its flaws. I'm not going to lie. Our generation is one, however, that gets too much slander for these type of things when, in all actuality, we are a lot more religious than we seem, and we're a lot more willing to go out of our way to show our faith than I think previous generations. And so, if I'm being completely honest, while a lot of people may disagree, I think that the Catholic Church is in good hands. But I also think that it's up to you and I, members of Gen Z. If you're watching this, if you know you're in Gen Z or maybe millennial, close to that, right? It is up to us to grow our generation, to be more religious with time. Because I mentioned, I think it's going to happen with time. I think the older that we get, the more religious we're going to become. But that's not just going to happen by sitting around and hoping that it happens, right? That's going to happen by you and I not being afraid to share our faith, to stand up for our faith. To show others why we are Catholic and what we believe so that they may follow in our footsteps. Because at the end of the day, that is what it is all about. Getting ourselves to heaven and getting as many others to heaven as possible while loving God. That is what it's about. And I think that is something that our generation has the ability to do wonderfully. So now that the topic is done, do you know what it's time for now? It's time for
the Saint of the Week.
And today's Saint of the Week is a very well-known saint, and that is Saint Matthew, one of the 12 apostles, who, when this video comes out, the 21st, it is his feast day today. So happy feast day to Saint Matthew. Saint Matthew, of course, one of the 12 apostles, was actually probably, I'd say at least, one of the most unique of the apostles, simply because he was a tax collector. He was a tax collector, and at that time, tax collectors were seen as absolute sinners. They were seen as not good people. People really didn't like them. And so what made him unique is that Jesus chose him. Jesus chose a sinner, if you will. Jesus chose someone who was frowned upon to be one of his 12 apostles, showing that he didn't come to save the righteous, but the merciful, but the sinners, right? And so that is why Saint Matthew is so important. Saint Matthew, of course, is the author of the book of Matthew, according to tradition, which is absolutely incredible. He wasn't afraid to spread the gospel message. Again, we always hear about Jesus having dinner with sinners. That dinner was due to Matthew. Matthew sort of held a going away party, if you will. That's a way to put it. And a lot of the people he invited were considered sinners. They were considered not good people. And Jesus still ate with them. Jesus still sat with them. So the question being, why would Jesus eat with such immoral people? And he answered that this is in Matthew 9, 12, 13. He said, "Those who are well do not need a physician, but the sick do. Go and learn the meaning of the words, 'I desire mercy, not sacrifice.' I did not come to call the righteous, but sinners." Absolutely incredible, and we have that because of Matthew. So Saint Matthew is an incredible saint to look at, and I think someone who is really good for this topic because, again, St. Matthew wasn't afraid to go out of his way to stand for the truth, even if it maybe got him in trouble because he was a quote-unquote immoral person being with Jesus, or got Jesus in trouble. He wasn't afraid to stand up for the truth and to show himself and then host a party with other sinners and invite Jesus to it. And again, like I mentioned, I feel like Gen Z does an excellent job of that as well. So anytime we feel that we're struggling to really like stand up for our faith or to spread the message of our faith, we can always look to St. Matthew for help. St. Matthew, pray for us. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Before you click off, please click the red subscribe button down below and the bell next to it. That way you get notified when I come out with a new video. Please check out my website, kidcatholic.com. There's so many awesome things you can do on there. You can read about me, you can contact me. All my videos are up there. Details about my speaking engagements are up there. So if you want to book me to come and speak to your school, church, youth group, men's group, women's group, whatever it might be, please email me directly at kidcatholic1@gmail.com so we can work out details, or go to my website, kidcatholic.com, click on the contact me page, email me from there, and we can work out details from there. Please comment any saint or topic suggestions that you might have. Please check out all 3 of my social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The link to all 3 of those will be in the description down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, I hope that you guys are just having a good day so far, having a good week, and having a good September so far. Overall, this was Keaton of Catholic. I'll see you all next week, and hi, Brielle.